Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just wait for a few more seconds to come in for today's informative and interactive webinar that we have for you today. Some general housekeeping items. This is a recorded webinar. All participants will be receiving today's presentation and also the recording link to our YouTube channel. So definitely encourage you to like and subscribe as well. In addition, in case if you have any particular questions throughout today's webinar, strongly encourage you to put them in the Q&A so that throughout today's presentation, either myself, my colleagues, Ian and Kelly or Michelle will be able to answer those questions when the time is for Q&A. Also, this is a good opportunity for you to introduce yourself, what type of business you have, what are some of the experiences that you have had in creating your brand. Has it been favorable? Not favorable? What has been your experience? And what has worked and what hasn't worked, so like that we can all collaborate, share new ideas, and at the end of the day, have today's presentation and a few aha moments to assist you. So thank you once again. My name is Jesus Padilla. I am the manager of administrative services here at the Florida SBDC at FIU under the FIU College of Business, as we're working together with one of our great consultants, Michelle Caba. She is our marketing consultant under the BizGap program. Next slide. Next slide. So a brief description of what is the BizGap and the Florida SBDC at FIU. In 2023, we were recognized as the National SBDC of the Year. So here's our some of our friendly faces from our team, accepting the numerous awards that we received last year on a local, state, and federal acknowledgements. Next slide. So a brief projects that we have done under BizGap. We have worked with the Miami-Dade Downtown Corridor, with the DDA, along with the City of North Miami Beach. BizGap is focused on businesses that are physically located in District 27, which focuses on City of Miami, Key Biscayne, Coral Gables, runs through Kendall down to Cutler Bay. From the previous census of 2019, over 86,000 business establishments have been occupied in District 27. Some of the important focuses of District 27 is providing the consulting, training, information, the market research, and also the connecting you with local resource partners that the county has to offer. Once again, the BizGap program was funded through a cooperative agreement with District 27, along with the SBA. And one of the key areas is we want to go to the small businesses on how we can provide the assistance that they're seeking to grow and succeed by going and doing the door-to-door canvassing. The overall goal of the project is to assist over 1,000 small businesses in the district in 2024. As such, the trainings, workshops, and the consulting as it's no cost business consulting to you. And then I want to thank you, and I want to thank our consultant Michelle Caba, that she'll be introducing herself, who she is, her experience, and then we'll proceed with today's presentation. Michelle.
Thank you, Jesus. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Caba. I am a business consultant here at the BizGap program. And I come from 20 years of experience on Wall Street, where I've been learning about brands and businesses, all that makes businesses viable and sustainable, marketable, and profitable, no matter what the market, what's going on in the market. In addition, I've owned brick and mortar businesses like a nail salon and a hotel business that I have managed and sold as well. So this topic about branding is very near and dear to me because it really is that secret sauce to your business that makes you a magnet for clients, which moves on to increase revenue and to profitability, which is what we all want as business owners. So today's objectives is we will be defining branding. We will create a brand that attracts your target audience. I will go over some branding statistics that are super important. We'll talk about elements of branding, how to drive, how branding drives your marketing efforts, and the importance of having all this information in a brand deck and how to use it, as well as tools to expand your brand. So what does branding mean to you? In many cases, branding, when I speak to clients, they'll immediately say, "Oh, branding is my logo. Yeah, I have that. I have a logo." Or I have a tagline. But branding goes so much deeper than that. It's literally your promise to your end client. It's a relationship that you're establishing. Think about dating. When you're dating, you're showing up as your best self, and everything that you do is intentional in order to attract the love of your life. Well, same with your business. So branding entails a lot of strategy. It entails design. It's understanding your identity in the marketplace so that it can drive profitable marketing strategies and allows you to advertise to your end client. So branding. I love this book and I really recommend it to all business owners. It's called Building a Brand Story, a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And this quote is exactly what I want you guys to leave with at the end of this seminar. The customer is the hero, not you and not your brand. So as long as we have our customer in mind, you'll have more opportunities to generate the revenue that your business needs, right? Oftentimes we think about businesses from our perspective and tend to put out our ideas out there when we're marketing, and sometimes they fail. But when you make the customer the center of your business universe, when your customer is the hero and you're meeting your customer at every touch point, something magical happens in your business, and that's revenue. So one clear skill you need to have in order to build a successful brand is to be intentional. Be intentional about everything when it comes to how you're representing your brand, how you're showing up to your customer. And how can we do that? Well, first, we need to actively educate your audience about who you are. We don't want to just mention it one time. You want to repeat constantly what the business is about, what your brand promises to your client. We also want to gain feedback on who they believe you are, right? Your clients are your best advocates. They will tell you what they love about your brand and what you can improve on, or maybe what opportunities you're missing in. So gaining feedback from your clients is being intentional. Be consistent about how you communicate your brand. So if you're showing up on social and you're posting once a week about something specific about your brand, then be consistent about posting on social about those things. And focus on providing a great customer experience. So as long as you keep your client, as I mentioned before, as the hero of your brand, and give them an amazing customer experience, they will recognize your brand and also become your super fan and share your brand with friends, families, and even strangers. So top branding statistics. That is really important for you to buy into branding and really be intentional about it. It takes 5 to 7 impressions for people to remember a brand. 5 to 7 times. So it's really important that you show up in different types of media, as well as being repetitive with your message. Color improves brand recognition by 80%. There is a psychology when it comes to picking the color for your brand. 73% of consumers love a brand because of helpful customer service. So again, keeping your customer in mind. Presenting a brand consistently across all platforms can increase revenue by up to 23%. And a third of the world's top 100 brands include the color blue in their logos. As you can see, we do that here as well at SBDC. 72% of best brands are made up of words or acronyms, and brands with poor company branding pay 10% higher in salaries, because that means that your employees are not even buying into your brand. So that turnover tends to cost you money at the end of the day. And over 70% of brand managers consider building an audience more important than converting. 89% of shoppers stay local to brands that share their values. And brands that blog generate 67% more leads. So this is why it's so important to know your brand and show up consistently. Another point, branding that lasts gets stronger over time. So let's think about the brands that we engage with on a day-to-day basis. McDonald's, Starbucks, Nike, Disney. I'm sure you can think to yourself about an experience you had at McDonald's, from South Florida all the way to North Florida, and it's the same experience. That's because they were super strategic and intentional about the brand that they built. They want to make sure that the quality of their food is the same, that the way you're greeted into the store is the same, down to the bags that are housing your food is the same, so that you won't think of another burger store. And so you should do the same with your brand. So elements that go into building a brand deck and why a brand deck is so important. I've had many clients that are franchisors and want to pitch to possible franchisees, but don't have a presentation ready. Well, I promise you, as a business, if you put in the work and create a brand deck from the beginning, that brand deck is now a versatile asset to your business. What does that mean? We can now turn that brand deck into a sales pitch deck, or any type of a presentation. We can copy and paste information from this brand deck and create marketing materials. So what goes into this brand deck? We want to know and state our brand truth, our brand tone. We want to know our customer, our vision, mission statements, what our values are, how we're positioned against other competitors. We want to make sure that our ambassadors, such as our employees, are on the same page, and it helps us with content creation. It also helps us deliver what our brand guidelines are when it comes to our logo and our tagline, our color, and also our text. So what do we want to focus on when we are defining our brand truth? Well, we want to state clearly what is our authenticity and our genuine essence, right? Why did we go into business, and why is this important to our customer? We want to again build a brand based on a story that is our story in becoming business owners. And we want to consistently deliver our commitment to our customers within our brand truth. So in my case, for my business, my brand truth is that I help businesses align themselves with their target audience, elevate their business strategies so that they can make profits faster. I'm super intentional about what my message is. And I'm honest and transparent and reliable to that message, because everything that I build within my business speaks up to that brand truth. Your brand truth is the foundation of what a strong and enduring relationship is with your end client. So we want to be super clear about what that is. Let's start with defining our brand tone. Every brand has a different tone. So it can be quirky, it could be professional, humorous, relatable. Coca-Cola's brand is to be friendly and exciting. So Netflix, it's to be warm and inviting. So you should define what your brand tone is, so that everything when it comes to messaging and customer experience, that brand tone is actually louder than anything else. Know your customer. This is your secret gem to branding. So we like to build buyer personas. This is a fictional character that represents your ideal customer. We all have an ideal customer, and it's that one customer that was so easy to convert from a prospect to a customer, that paid their bills on time, that made you feel like this was exactly where you needed to be. Well, we want to create a buyer persona around that ideal client. And we want to list what our common interests are, how we are solving for their challenges. And we want to grow with them. We want to study them as they continue to be our customers, because sometimes it unlocks some amazing products and services, and which leads to more revenue. Now, not all clients are the same, right? And depending on where they live, their behaviors, it could determine the effectiveness of our marketing campaigns. I've heard from many of clients over the years about how their marketing didn't work, or that they spent so much money but didn't get any return. Well, this is where market segmentation comes to play, because segmenting your customer base allows us to, one, customize products so that we meet their unique needs and their desires. Two, it allows us to allocate resources more efficiently, so that way we can focus on segments that offer the highest potential for profitability. And it also gives us a competitive advantage, because it could lead us to differentiating ourselves from our competitors. Geographic segmentation. So why is this important? We want to categorize our audience based on location, simply because, you know, a client, if you have a product that you're offering to the entire United States, life in Middle America is a different life than here in South Florida, right? So it could drive your marketing efforts to not really represent your product or service in a relatable way for your end client in Middle America. So we want to take note of the city that our clients live in, region, population size, climate, communities. I'll use myself as an example. When I had my salon in Hoboken, New Jersey, I needed to understand how many, first of all, what was the population size? And at that time, it was like 50,000 people. And then out of that population, what is the population that is going to use my services? And then drill deeper into getting to know my client from there. And as we drill deeper, we want to know the demographics of our ideal customer. So what is the age range of our customer that's going to use our products and services? Their gender, their income, their occupation, marital status. This all is going to take, it's going to play into the decision-making of our ideal customer. And it's also going to allow us to drive our marketing efforts to attract this customer. Psychographic. So there are studies out there that have proven that when a customer shares values, beliefs, or interests with a brand, they will support that brand and be a loyal customer. So you want to understand what those traits are for your ideal customer. What are their pain points? What is their social interests, cultural interests? What activities are they into? Because again, it helps drive our marketing efforts and also keep that that expense, right, lower in our marketing efforts. Behavior segmentation. Let's get to know their habits. I mentioned before, it takes 5 to 7 touch points for a customer to really buy into a brand. This is where you want to draw out your customer journey for your client. So for example, I work a lot with law firms in terms of consulting them. And guess what? Law firms are not looking for business consultants like me through ads. They are looking for a customer consultant like myself, either by Googling network events or referral-based programs or masterminds. And so because I know this about my customer, I make sure that my brand, my business is showing up at each of those touch points. So make sure you understand their habits, their purchasing style, their social media use, and their media consumption. Now let's talk about vision, mission, and values. Your vision statement is a declaration of what your long-term goals are. So I like to describe this as your vivid vision. Like today you have your business, but where do you see it going long-term, right? Because this is a long-term commitment here. Where is your business going from today, 5 years from now? So an example that I have here is Southwest Airlines, and this is their vision statement: to be the world's most loved, most efficient, and most profitable airline. Don't be afraid for your vision statement to be bold, because it helps us stay true to how we build our business moving forward. Mission statement. This is an action-based statement that declares the purpose of your organization and how you're serving your customers, okay? So for Nike, their mission statement is bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And the asterisk is, if you have a body, you are an athlete. So they really consider everyone in the world an athlete. And I don't know about you, but when I put on my Nike sneakers, I feel like I'm an athlete. So your mission statement should speak to what your promise is going to be to your customer. Value statement. Value statement is so important because this is where all the pieces of your branding puzzle and your business come together. It's that last piece of your branding puzzle. And this is where you actively explain what you as a company believe in and how you operate. This statement is what's going to unify your employees, your customers, and any prospects out there. You're going to live and breathe these values. So for Nike, their values is 1, to do the right thing, be on the offense always, serve athletes, create the future of sport, and win as a team. So I want you to think about what your values are, that is going to marry your employees and customers to what your value is when you started this business. Now let's talk elevator pitch. I am someone that is a networker because, as I mentioned before, in order for me to get in front of my ideal client, I need to be at networks, masterminds, constantly. But I'm very intentional about what networks I go to because, again, I'm intentional about meeting my client. So it's super important to have an elevator pitch ready because, let's be honest, in today's world, we don't have too long of someone's attention. So I added here a nice template that I share with many of my clients to help you build that elevator pitch so that you're able to clearly define the market that you're going after, how your business provides whatever that product or service is, differentiate yourself from the competition, and what's the result of this ideal client working with you. We want to make a lasting impression in a very limited time. And so I urge you to take a snapshot of this statement because it will help you easily communicate the value of your business, and also easily your end client will easily see themselves to the point where they're going to say, yes, give me more information, hand me that business card, and continue the conversation. So here's an elevator pitch example, and I recently became a fur mom, so I decided to use a dog grooming service because that's something new I have to add in my life. So this pitch example, we are a mobile dog grooming service. All we need is a parking space. We provide a full service list of grooming needs for the dog owner at reasonable prices, Monday through Sunday. Our stand-up Sprinter van is customized and fully equipped to operate as a spot for dogs with large windows and skylights, creating a pleasant environment that lessens stress. I know what they do, I know who they do it for, and I know how they stand against their competition and what the end result is for me and my dog. That's how you want your message to be, that clear and easily digestible, so that your end client remembers you and just wants to do business with you. This is why positioning is so important, and I like to interchange the word positioning with competitive analysis, because it's really important that you know how you stand up against your competition. I get clients all the time that say, I don't have competition. I don't know anybody that's doing what I'm doing. We all have competition. None of us are reinventing the wheel here. We may offer different services in addition to like our main product, but there's definitely a competitor out there, and we want to know how we stand up against them, because then we can work on our messaging so that we can attract more clients. And just to touch on that, if you want to do like a quick and dirty market analysis, I would pick 3 competitors, go to Google, read their reviews, and that will help you figure out how to position yourself with this competitor. Customers love to give you all the deets on what they enjoyed about your competitor and what they didn't. So there's an opportunity there. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure what's going on here. Give me 1 second. Oh no. I lost my place. Thanks for your patience. All right, so let's talk logo and tagline. Your brand is more than your logo. And what I see often is that clients will, as soon as they have a business idea, the first thing they do is get the logo. Yes, brand identity is super important, but so is creating a logo that really speaks to your end client. So you want to make sure that the graphic symbol used by your company, your business, is easily recognizable to your audience. And a tagline, you want a tagline that's a short and mini declaration of that mission statement that really speaks to the result that your end client will expect working with you. So here I have this is an example, More Coffee Bar, and their tagline is brewing love 1 cup at a time. And you'll see how that tagline ties into the logo. So you see the cup, you see the love with the heart over the cup, and it's 1 cup at a time, right? You don't see several cups in the logo. Now, let's talk about how branding helps set the tone for your content. So now we know our mission statement, we know our brand truth, we know our vision statement, right? So these foundational statements should be what guides you in terms of the images you use for your social platforms or email blasts, as well as the captions that you use. So make sure that that when you're thinking about laying out your social media or your emails, that you're referring back to your brand deck and to those foundational messages in order to create a really beautiful news feed for your socials or emails that actually drive conversion, okay? And in today's social media world, images say 1,000 words, but videos say 1,000,000 words. So now that you know your branding, you know your messaging, create videos that speak to that messaging so that your brand is recognizable and consistent in this omni-channel world. And I added some tools here that can help you with that consistency. So Canva, Ripple, iMovie. Color and text, super important in branding. You want to be consistent with that as well, because again, your ideal customer has a very short attention span. But if they keep seeing you show up the same colors, same fonts, same way, then they will relate a product and service specific to your brand and business. So make sure you keep yourself consistent. For example, in colors, think about how you feel when you see a color. What feeling does that generate? Then that's the color that you want to choose for your brand. So for example, UPS, Best Buy, they use the color yellow because it represents optimism. Nickelodeon, Target, and Lego, they use the color red in their logo because it speaks to being friendly. T-Mobile and Hallmark, they use the color purple because it speaks to creativity. AT&T and Lowe's, they use blue, as we do here at SBDC, because it speaks to trust. And so on and so forth. And if you would like, I'm more than happy to share with you guys an article on the psychology of colors for your logos. You have this great brand deck now that we have built step by step. We want to share this brand deck with our ambassadors because no business is built on one person. We're going to need help out there, right? And so we want to make sure that whoever we hire is a high performer and that we're supporting them in how they represent our business and our brand. And so we want to make sure that they are adhering to the company culture. They are our ambassadors. So make sure that they are part of the brand process as well. And now that you've built your brand, think about branding opportunities. Here, Coca-Cola, slaps their logo and brand on chairs at different restaurants. Think about ways that you can partner with maybe someone that is a strategic partner. You have the same ideal customer, but you're not competing when it comes to products and services. And have a conversation about how you can expand your brand awareness at their location or on their marketing and advertising materials. And vice versa. So now it's time to get your logo out there and your brand messaging out there. We want to add all of this onto your website because it's a huge part of your brand and business. You'll be amazed of how you can really convert clients once they land on your website and not only can identify your business easily, but also identify themselves and how you solve for their challenges. Make sure it's on your email signature, your tagline, your logo, and that you're using it in all social media channels where your client is most likely sitting and waiting for you. And of course, one of the most exciting places is your business card. Choose the right platforms to convey your brand. I know in this omni-channel world, it could get really overwhelming having to show up everywhere. Well, I'll tell you this, once you build out your brand, you're only going to select the right channels that make sense for your brand and business where you are going to reach your ideal customer. And I always recommend that you pick one channel at a time, become really great at it, at representing your brand consistently and attracting your client, and then add another channel. So some benchmarks to consider. Your brand deck. Make sure to distribute it, again, as I mentioned, to any partners or employees so that everybody's on the same page. Consistency is key. So the graphic design should have the same color yellow, not different versions. And you have tools to help you like Canva, Wix Logo Creator, Fiverr, Upwork. You can hire a designer. And when you launch, make it easier on yourself by creating a content calendar so that you can think about now your brand and your messaging, how you're going to decide on content that speaks to that branding and messaging, and just create a whole plan around it and schedule it. So you're not racking your brain every day and saying to yourself, oh, I didn't post today. So some platforms that are helpful with this in terms of scheduling content is Hootsuite, Buffer, later Sprout Social, and for emails, MailChimp, Constant Contact, and Klaviyo. So you have a brand deck now, and your brand deck now houses your logo guidelines so that you're creating a recognizable brand signature. It's going to house your color palette and all the information in terms of the key identifiers of that color palette. It's going to tell people what font to use when they're representing your company. It's going to have a crafted and succinct, consistent message that speaks to your target audience. You don't have to fumble back anymore and think about, they asked for an email about my business. What am I going to say? You have it already in your brand deck. You can copy and paste it. It helps create and support your company culture, and it's a shareable document, okay? So when I work with my clients here at SBDC through BizGap, I have a nice, great template that I share with prompting questions and some ChatGPT prompts, because we live in this new world now of higher productivity with ChatGPT. So if you guys are interested in that, you can certainly email me or ask Jesus, and I can share that. So recap, branding is more than logos, more than signs or images. Brands that last are because they are so intentional and consistent. A brand strategy with a well-crafted message will attract your ideal customer. This is how you become a magnet for your customers. And you want to get noticed, right? Great branding helps you stand out. So make sure to use the tools that I shared to help expand that brand awareness. Any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. And yes, if you have any questions, I'll strongly encourage you to put them in the Q&A. And we'll be more happy to answer those questions on your behalf as well. Also, this is a webinar, so all participants will be receiving today's presentation and the link to our YouTube channel. Okay. Yep, you did an amazing job, Michelle. I got some great comments for you.
Thank you, Sabine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any clarifying questions.
Michelle, obviously you were talking about like the text with the colors based on the brand wheel. Is there like any good industries or particular industries that should focus on one particular color over the other, like red with anything with medical realms like CVS, Walgreens have like the same color red?
So I would say, depending on the message, red is tricky because red could mean two things. It could mean stop, halt, don't pass go. Or it could mean, presence, fire, boldness. So I would say pick the color depending on the message, the underlying brand truth that you're trying to convey to your client. In my case, I chose a green that's not too green. That's like a gem bright color green, because I'm selling to businesses that they'll be more profitable working with me, right? So I want them to relate that green to profitability, but also to trust and warmness. So I made sure that the green that I picked is warm and speaks to that trust.
Perfect. All right. And then, speaking of the colors, what would be a good color for insurance? My logo is currently yellow.
So again, it depends on that underlying message that you're relaying. And I wouldn't say this is like an opportunity to go and change your coloring, right? Especially if you've been in business for a while. But I would say, what is your core values? And does that yellow speak to those core values?
Okay. And then, if you wanna, pretty much if you wanna meet with Michelle or with any of our consultants under the BizGap team, I'll strongly encourage you to register for consultation, as I will be more than happy to assist you with your business needs.
And I also want to point something else out, because I have to remind clients of this continuously. Once you create your brand deck, it's not a document that you save in your computer and lose. It is a document that I would recommend you leave on your desktop, because you're going to constantly refer to it. And if you're not constantly referring to it, you're constantly adding to it. What I mean by that is that your ideal customers' behaviors change. They change day to day, right? So I would say review your brand deck every 3, 6, 9, 12 months. So every quarter, to make sure that the messaging still speaks to your products and services and your values, but meets your end client at where they are in their purchasing decision.
Okay. And then, let me see. And obviously with the brand experience, this definitely helps out with all the different forms of marketing, like the email marketing, the social media marketing, for the entire messaging is the same and consistent across all boards, correct?
Right. And it also builds confidence. Business ownership is very isolating and very lonely at times, and the imposter syndrome can seep up. I can tell you that when that happens to me, I just pull up my brand deck, and it reminds me of why I got into business, what it is that I'm promising to my end client, and how I need to show up. It gives me a lot of direction. So I would highly encourage you to build a brand deck and take your time. Branding is, I call it business therapy. You have to do the deep, deep work, but it pays off in the end.
Okay. And then, let me see if there's any additional questions. And then, coincidentally, we also have some upcoming events and webinars. Some are in person, some are online. They are located in the chats right here. So definitely encourage you to go ahead and register, so you can meet with them, and also enhance the conversation with our business consultants, with Michelle, with Emily de Armas, as and others in the BizGap team. So like I said, this webinar is being recorded. All participants will be receiving today's presentation, and definitely looking forward to seeing you at the next webinars. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Michelle, for today's webinar.
Thank you. Have a